Okay, so I am not going to show you application because I already have these done, but I'm going to give you just some of my best tips for applying gel. And I'm going to kind of go in order. I have little notes here so I don't forget anything. Kind of go in order of, how it all goes. Hi, Shannon. And then I'm gonna end up showing you my trick for capping, which if you're in my VIP group, you may have seen me show you this trick. It's really important for lacquer. It can totally help with, it's really important for gel. It can totally help with lacquer as well. But let's just jump right in. I don't want to take forever and so much time of your day. Okay, so nail prep is going to be probably the most important thing for gel, really for putting anything on your nails. You should spend a good amount of time prepping your nails, just as much as you do putting stuff on them almost. Especially for a quick application like gel. I mean, you should spend some time making sure that you've got a nice application surface. And what that means is you want to make sure that your cuticles are pushed back. So use like an orange wood stick. This one's all gross. Got nail polish all over it. Use an orange wood stick. Use a little cuticle pusher like this. Make sure you push those cuticles back. If you have problems with things sticking to your nails, even if you push back your cuticles, you may need something like a cuticle remover. Everyone has something called an invisible cuticle that likes to grow up over the nail that we don't necessarily see, but this nifty little product is really good at getting rid of that. It's just a little brush. You like twist this and it fills up with the solution. You brush it on. Let it sit for like 30 seconds and then you push back your cuticles. I particularly like, whoops, I'm gonna drop things. I particularly like the metal cuticle spoon for this, for nail prep. It's really good, especially in conjunction with the cuticle remover to push those back. So that's really key. Make sure all your cuticles are off your nail, pushed back, and then you can give it a good cleaning with like an alcohol wipe. You can even like scrub your nails with some dish soap before you apply anything. That'll just cut any extra oil off your nails and make anything adhere better. Give it a cleaning with a nail prep wipe. If you buff your nails, which is fine to do, but be careful of over buffing because you can just buff away layers of your nails if you go too crazy, and don't do that. But if you do buff your nails, clean off any debris from that with this. Okay, now with your gel, I'm gonna demonstrate kind of with macaron here. It's really important that you don't have like gobs and gobs of your solution on your brush. This is just gonna make a mess, okay? This is the #1 reason why people claim they're bad at painting their nails. And it's because they just get this huge hunk of gobby stuff on their brush and then paint it on, and then it just bleeds down the sides and gets all over your skin and it looks really bad. So that is really key. So especially with gel where thin coats are really important, just get most of this extra off of the brush before you even put it on, okay? And be careful of the wand here too, because sometimes it accumulates there and then starts to drip down. Honestly, you can always go back for more, but you can't take off too much once it's already there. So thin coats with just a little bit on your brush. And when I say thin coats, that's each one that you cure. You might not see the color or the coverage that you want with just one coat, but as you cure it and as you add additional coats, you'll get the richness of the color that you want. Okay, the other really important thing, which also applies with lacquer, is don't be afraid to let some of your nails show really all around. If you look at really, really pristine gel or even lacquer manicures, they're so beautiful and pristine because it's not gunked up around the cuticle and skin. There's even like a little tiny sliver of naked nail on all those edges. And that is really important. And don't be afraid of that gap. Don't be afraid that it looks incomplete or looks odd. Nobody sees that but you, because nobody's looking at your nails as closely as you are. All they're gonna see is a really clean looking manicure. So mind that gap, let it happen. If you do tend to get too much and it bleeds down the sides, this is where like an orange wood stick is just really in handy. Just like scrape that off before you cure. You can also use like this is our perfectionist corrector pen. I mentioned this in my video yesterday. This is awesome. I've obviously used it a few times. You use this to get any off of your skin, and this works on gel as long as you do it before you cure. So thin coats, mind the gap. Don't be afraid of there being some naked nail there. Now with gel, occasionally as you're putting it on, you'll notice it's a little streaky or it seems like uneven. Gel kind of has this cool characteristic in that it self-levels, meaning that it tends to just smooth itself out before curing, even a little during the curing process. So if you paint it on and it looks streaky or like it's uneven, a little trick that I learned is you can like actually turn your hand upside down and for like 10 seconds, and that gel just kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It self-levels on your nail so that it kind of gives a nice, you know, consistent surface. And then you cure that. This will not work very well if you haven't done thin coats, because it will just kind of drop and bleed down your skin if you have like gobs and gobs of it on there. So always, you know, err on the side of thin coats and having to do an additional color coat rather than like cake it on there to get the color that you want, because that will be much more susceptible to chips. A big thick coat, because the curing lamp can't necessarily penetrate through all that thickness to give it a good cure. Okay, now the most important thing to get a long-lasting gel manicure that doesn't chip is capping. Okay, so now ordinarily with long nails, you would, as let's say I'm applying my macaron gel, I've already done my base coat, cured it, I'm doing my gel, I want to brush the free edge of my nail. Okay, so if you have nails that hang over the tips of your fingernails, fingertips, which mine are like borderline right now because I trimmed them before doing this manicure, but occasionally my nails are longer and I have plenty of room to do that, brush the free edge. And then you can do like a smoothing, you know, brush out so that you don't have anything like globbed on the end. But that's really important just to seal in the gel so that it doesn't chip. But I actually like a different method better, because even when my nails are long enough to brush the free edge, it doesn't, you know, gunk up on my skin like it would with short nails, but it does, for me, tend to gum up right under the fingernails. And then I'm like, I feel like I have to pick that out, and then it's not capped properly anyway, because it pulls some of that off. So what I like to do, and this really nifty trick that I learned, and I only do this on one of my color coats. So say macaron, this was 2 coats of color. I didn't bother to cap my first coat after, so then I cure it. Now I'm on my second coat of gel, and I'll just paint that on and make sure that it's nice and smooth and it's where I want it to be. And then what I do, and I'm gonna try to demonstrate this, it's really hard with this camera angle. So I would be holding my hand like this down in front of me, but for demonstration purposes. And then instead of like holding the brush like this, I'm gonna turn it upside down so that I'm pushing away from me. And then I'm just trying to do this so you can see. And I'm just pretending here because my nails are so beautiful. So I have a little bit on my brush. I'm going like this, so I push it away, turn it away from me, and then I'm gonna do short little scrubbing motions toward the tip of the nail. Okay, short scrubbing motions. And what that does is it's pushing just the tiniest bit of gel over that free edge of your nail so that it can kind of cap everything in. So it's called capping. And then, you know, sometimes it'll look really globby on the end after I do that. And so what I'll do is just take my brush again and just do like a cleansing stroke, not necessarily with additional color. So I'll like scrape all of that off before I do it. Hi, Larissa. Oh, and Elizabeth joined us too. So I found that is so key, and it works so well because the first few times I tried gel, I didn't know that I was supposed to cap it. I would still get chips, kind of like I would with polish. And so I'm like, why do I bother with gel if it's the same kind of outcome? Capping is really important. So that's how I do it. I have had really great success with it. It works on short nails. And long nails. So I prefer it even when my nails are longer, but it works really well on short nails because there's no way to brush that free edge if your nails are short or bitten down or anything like that. So you can still just do this little like short scrubbing motion towards the edge, you know, all along the tip, and then smooth it out and then cure. I don't like to cap each coat just because I feel like it builds up a little too thick on the ends, and I don't love that. So I just do my last coat of color depending on how many coats I've needed. Macaron was 2, other colors I might do 3. I always just cap my last coat, and I don't really worry about capping the top coat. I don't know if that's bad. I've never really heard anything to the contrary. But I just cap the last color coat. So that's really all I have for you to make your gel mani last and apply the way that you want it to look. So if there's any questions, there's just a few of you on with me, so feel free to comment with a question or post it later, and I will obviously follow up with any comments that come in after the live if you're watching the replay. So yeah, that is that.